much better than that as a story as well as a sporting spectacle.
Number 2.
If you're a NASCAR fan and you're a Dale Earnhardt fan, that was just a tremendous day.
Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500. Finally.
If you want to be considered successful in racing, you've got to win the Daytona 500.
He had worked so hard and had won so many races.
But darn, for some reason the 500 kept eluding him.
I mean, the guy had tried so many times and come so close.
Everybody knew how much this meant to Dale Earnhardt.
He wanted that Daytona 500 more than anything in the world.
That trophy had to have Dale Earnhardt's name on it.
If you weren't a fan of Dale Sr., you were that day.
Here's Earnhardt, who's been chasing the Daytona 500 for 20 years at that point.
This was the last race left on his resume.
And all of a sudden, this is coming down to the end, and you're thinking, something's going to happen.
What's going to happen this time? You know, what's going to keep him from winning?
All the cards were right. Here comes Earnhardt.
And there's trouble coming off of turn 2.
We were coming to the white flag. They had a wreck on the backstretch.
Whoever gets back to the start-finish line, they'll get the white and the yellow together.
When they took the caution flag,
it became apparent that he would finally win the Daytona 500.
Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500.
It was more what happened when the race was over.
When he came down pit road.
When he came down pit road. And
every crew member from every team.
Every man on every crew.
I mean, everybody came out on pit road to congratulate him.
And to slap him a high five.
And high-five that guy when he came by.
Just want to say, you know what? Congratulations, you did it.
Crew members, quite frankly, crying.
That's a lot of respect out there from those guys.
Most anticipated moment in the history of NASCAR racing.
I've never seen a show of respect like that, and I don't know that we ever will.
Everybody was on the same team after the end of the race.
So you don't see that, you know, from every time someone wins the Daytona 500.
You've done everything that can be done in this sport, and you finally won the Daytona 500.
Coming up next, the greatest Daytona 500 moment of them all.
They start banging off of each other.
They're spinning out of control.
My God, does this happen every race?
There's a fight.
And the whole world was watching.
Just classic NASCAR.
When the 10 greatest Daytona 500 moments returns. Welcome back. 10 Team 9 unforgettable Daytona 500 moments so far.
Yeah, I couldn't tell who won.
Just like it exploded.
Oh, the heartbreaker for Mark Martin.
It looked like they were in a demolition derby.
Just chugging along.
And just sort of limps across the line.
Nobody really knew what they would quite do.
I mean, a photo finish at the first Daytona 500.
Let's just take gas.
Are you just going to keep winning races forever? I won't keep on trying, Ned. You can bet on that.
This is the Daytona 500, isn't it?
He's like,
I think he does a pretty good Icky Shuffle.
It's the Dale and Dale show.
it was the Dale and Dale show.
Come on, Dale, you can do it. Come on, Dale.
One of the best moments in broadcast history.
Sterling Marlin is jumping out of his car.
What's he doing?
That ain't going to be good.
You can't touch the race car.
I mean, they were both out there to win.
It's cool to see Daddy give the son the lesson.
19 years of trying. That trophy had to have Dale Earnhardt's name on it.
Are you kidding me?
But now it's time for the most unbelievable Daytona 500 moment of them all. This is number 1.
Two of the greatest fiddling here, fidgeting with first place.
My favorite moment.
The greatest moment in the history of NASCAR.
That is what made me want to be a race car driver.
They're hitting the wall. They're head on the wall. They slide down the inside.
The snow
was absolute fiction.
The seaboard snowed.
So everybody trapped in their living room, sit inside and watch it.
Back then, we didn't have a 500-channel universe. You were watching CBS, and you came across the race.
First race nationally televised live.
It was the first live flag-to-flag race.
Lo and behold, what do you see but this incredible wheel-to-wheel battle?
This is pretty cool. Wonder how it will end.
Donnie Allison and Cale Yarborough had been going at it a lot that day.
The last lap, everything breaks loose.
Cale and Donnie Allison come off turn 3, and
They start banging off of each other.
They were just deliberately turning into each other.
And it's like, what? Down on the straightaway, they're beating and banging.
I'm like, my God, where's this guy pushing him?
Does this happen every race?
And we're all looking at each other, and I'm looking at Junior, and everybody's just, they don't know what to think.
If this happens every race, I'm hooked. I'm watching NASCAR the rest of my life.
They're spinning out of control.
And then they crash.
Out of it.
Everybody was focused on what was going on in 3 and 4. And oh, by the way, Ricky just won the Daytona 500. About half the crew that took off were
turn 3.
And there's this fist fight going on.
And there's a fight between Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison.
It's called a fight. It seemed more like a scuffle.
Cale Yarborough gets out, starts going after Donnie Allison.
And Bobby Allison arrives. He gets involved.
Cale started yelling at me that the wreck was my fault. I think I questioned his ancestry. Cale lunged at me and hit me in the face with his helmet.
There seemed like there was some mixed martial arts going on.
Cale seems to try to do some sort of a kung fu move.
Cale's got one leg up in the air, and Bobby's trying to punch.
And they're off in the mud over there like they're having a mud wrestling contest.
It was some good old redneck fun.
The legend of this incident just lives forever. Hearing a guy like Bobby Allison talk about how...
And he went to beating on my fist with his nose.
He kept running his face onto Bobby's fist.
My story, and I'm sticking to it.
I think it wasn't about the fighting. It was more about the essence of how much it meant to those people.
It showed that these drivers are passionate about the sport, that yes, this is a sport.
Got the nation's attention for NASCAR stock car racing.
It built the sport.
That's really what put NASCAR racing on the map.
And the whole world was watching.
A national television audience.
And the next day, you know, it's front page of every newspaper.
It was something that the average blue-collar guy across America could really catch a hold of and say, man, that was fun.
Across the stripe in what appears to be a dead heat.
Only adding gasoline and he's away.
Darrell Walter brings the Tide Chevrolet across. It's the Dale and Dale show.
But, oh, he can't do that. The Allisons, father and son.
I was wondering if I'd ever get my name on that trophy when y'all built that thing.
And there's a fight